अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रैरुक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्यः प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दं यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्याप्रसादान्न गतिः कुतोऽपि ध्यायन्स्तु वंस्तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Sarvebhyo namaskaraha. Welcome to this session. We are now doing the 10th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have completed 9 chapters and today we are going to read the 10th chapter. To do a quick recap of what we heard last time, the narrative of what is called as the Damodara Leela, in which Yashodama tries to tie Krishna to the grinding stone. She tries her best, but she fails every time the rope falls short by 2 finger widths. And eventually, by the grace of Krishna, by his kindness, she manages to tie him. He allows her to tie him. And this Leela, in which that's an exchange of love between the mother and the child, and also the gopis who are watching it, they get to see this very beautiful exchange. This is called Damodara Leela. It is celebrated in the month of Damodar or the Kartik month, which has begun now. In North India, which follows what is called as the Purnimanta calendar, the Damodar month has just started. But in the South Indian calendar or in many other places where the Amanta calendar is followed, the Damodar month will begin after the next the Purnima, Amavasya, which is coming up now. So in this month, the celebration of this particular Leela of Krishna is done by lighting lamps and by chanting special stotras. So going forward, what happens after this Leela? Yashodama goes back to her household work because now, as far as she's concerned, she has tied her baby to the grinding mortar and she doesn't think much about why it took her so much effort. She does not realize what has happened in the process, so she thinks she has succeeded in tying him and she goes back to her household work. In the meantime, the child Krishna, his glance falls on 2 tall trees standing in the yard, and they are called Arjuna trees, Arjuna Vriksha. So, how do these Arjuna Vrikshas come about here? How are they here? There's a whole story behind that. We will listen to that story, and first we will take a look at what this Arjuna tree refers to. Which kind of tree is it? Because we're familiar with the Vata Vriksha, the banyan tree, and the people tree, the Ashwatha Vriksha. But what is the Arjuna Vriksha? So I found with some Googling, I found a particular description online. This is the Latin name for the what is called the Arjuna Vriksha in Sanskrit, Terminalia Arjuna. And you can see the description there. There's a whole website. There are a lot of websites which describe this tree. It is said that it grows in tropical regions. It can grow up to 30 meters tall. It can be a very tall tree and it can be 2.5 meters in width. It's also an important medical plant in India. So it's used for, I guess, Ayurvedic medicines and stuff like that. And it's also exploited for its timber, which means it's maybe used for furniture and stuff like that. So it has a lot of human use. It's a very beneficial tree. And more description is given. You can even see that a decoction of the bark with milk is used as a beverage. We don't know about this beverage, but I guess the people who know about traditional medicines may know about it. So a lot of information about this tree is given, and it has a Latin name. Interestingly, the Latin name also has the word Arjuna inside it. So these trees are standing in the yard of the house of Nanda, and Krishna's glance falls upon those 2 trees. So what happens after that? Let me get back to the slide. So these 2 Arjuna trees are actually the two sons of Kuvera, Nalakuvara and Manigriva. So how did they happen to become trees and how did they come here? There's a narration given in the in the 10th chapter of the Dashama Skandha. So it is said that these two boys, when they were actually playing around, they happened to get a curse. Kuvera is their father, and Kuvera is a very famous personality. Kuvera is the son of Vishravas and Ilavila. Ilavila is Vishravas' wife's name. He had several wives. One of his wives, Ilavila, her son is Kuvera. And through another wife, Vishravas begot four children. They are even more famous than Kuvera: Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shurpanaka, and Vibhishana. So Ravana and Kuvera, therefore, are actually half brothers. Kuvera, of course, is not considered as a demoniac character. He is more like a divine character. He is also regarded as the king of the Yakshas. He is not a deva in the sense like Indra. He doesn't live in Swargaloka. He lives in some place where, like somewhere, it's said that he lives in Kailash. Now, he is actually seen as a lesser being than the normal devas, what we call the devas. But he is in charge of the yakshas and certain other beings who are also considered to be divine beings. So these beings actually have divine powers in them. They are not considered as asuras or rakshasas. They are considered as beings which are superior to human beings, more powerful, more capable, but also are beneficial to human society. They can be beneficial if they are properly interacted with. So Kuvera is the king of the yakshas. He's considered also like a treasurer of the devas. He has a lot of wealth with him and he loans wealth. The famous story of Tirupati. Tirupati, we worship Balaji Vishnu in the form of Balaji or Srinivasa Govinda. So that Srinivasa, when he came in that particular avatar, there's a story that he wanted to marry Padmavati, okay, a form of Lakshmi. And in that Leela that he performs, he is only a villager. He's a cowherd boy, just like he is when he is Krishna. So in that Leela, he needs money to arrange for his marriage because he's going to invite all the great personalities like the Devas and everyone. So to invite them, he needs money and he borrows that money from Kuvera. So Kuvera lends him money because after all, he is Vishnu. He's the source of all wealth, right? So this Leela, he borrows money from Kuvera and then he has a debt. So he has to return that debt to Kuvera. So for a long time in the temple in Tirupati, to fulfill the debt that the deity had from Kuvera, they used to go and drop all the money collected in the hundi into the ocean. They used to go and drop in the ocean with the understanding that this will now reach Kuvera. This money belongs to Kuvera because it has come from him. So this went on until fairly recently, a few decades back. It was stopped only a few decades back. It continued for hundreds of years, thousands of years actually. And then it was stopped. And now that money is being used for developing that place and making it more and more, favorable to pilgrims who come there. So this is about Kuvera. So now we just heard that Kuvera is the treasurer. And so he's very wealthy and naturally Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they are children of very wealthy father. So what happens in this world, we see happening among the divine beings also. There is pride. When money comes, there is power and there is status and everybody worships. There's unlimited freedom. So pride also comes with it. Pride and arrogance come with it. And once what happens when they are roaming near Kailash, that's where their father resides, they reside. Very beautiful forest is described by Mandakini. In our Indian knowledge system, it is said Mandakini, there's a river called Mandakini which flows from the Manasarovar, which is near Kailash Parvat. So today we have a Mandakini which flows and joins with Alakananda and becomes Ganga. And that is in Devaprayag, that's in the Uttarakhand region, that's not near today's Kailash. But there is another river there called Mandakini, and these people are roaming around in that beautiful forest. And they are intoxicated on a particular drink called Varuni. Varuni is a kind of liquor that the devas and divine beings, drink. And they are highly intoxicated. Their eyes are rolling. They've completely lost their senses. And they are naked and they are enjoying with some young women in that forest, and they are in the river. They've gone into the river's water, and the river's water is filled with beautiful lotus flowers, and they are simply enjoying themselves. So, as they are doing this, a question comes that these people are divine people. They are not like us human beings. So, they're supposed to be more intelligent, more sober, more mature, more grave. How come they are, behaving like this? What is that state of consciousness? What makes them go into this kind of a consciousness when they're supposed to be in a higher state of consciousness, when they're supposed to be filled with knowledge? Why do they behave in this unbefitting manner? This is where Bhagavad Gita gives a lot of insight. It says that even the devas are not free from material desires. In fact, the reason why jivatmas become deva is because they want to enjoy. That is why they go to Svargaloka. They do a lot of punya, they do dharma to get that punya, and they then go to Svargaloka and enjoy. Of course, they are responsible. They are meant not to behave like this, but sometimes we see this kind of behavior. So Arjuna asks Krishna in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichanapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Why is it that even if a person knows that something is wrong, they know that this is a wrong thing to do, it is not correct to do. In fact, a lot of people who commit crime, they know that it is crime. They know that they're doing something wrong. That is why they do it in a way that people will not catch them, because they know that they're doing something wrong. Right? If they thought that they were doing something entirely right, they probably don't have to do it in hiding. So they do it like that. Why do they do it? Even if they know that it is doing this thing. And Arjuna says, even when they don't want to do it, anichan means even when not wanting to do, sometimes we do wrong. What is it? So Sri Bhagavan replies, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhyena miha vairinam. It is karma. There's something called karma which resides inside us. And this karma represents our desire to enjoy this material existence, material or matter, you can say. Karma makes us think that our happiness comes from enjoyment that we get from engagement with matter. Karma blocks the real truth that real happiness is from within ourselves. True happiness lies inside us. When there is karma, this knowledge is blocked. And we are made to think, or the force of karma makes us think that enjoyment is outside in all the different sensual objects that we can access. And so, karma, which also takes another form called krodha, anger. Kama and krodha, they are two names of the same thing. And Sri Bhagavan says they are actually a great enemy. Mahashano, Mahapapma, very wicked and very voracious. Voracious means they eat us up. They eat us, not eat something else, eat us. We get eaten by our karma. So know that it is one's enemy. And this karma actually destroys us, destroys our intelligence. It sits on our intelligence, it harms us completely, makes us do wrong things, and gets us into trouble, gets us into embarrassing situations. So now these two boys are behaving under the influence of karma. Clearly, they think that this is what life is meant for, existence is meant for, and they're behaving like this. So then what happens? Devarshi Narada, the great Narada, is passing by. He witnesses this scene. The girls, when they see Narada coming there, they immediately cover themselves. They cover themselves and they become very conscious that somebody from outside has come here and he's a great personality. So we should at least in front of him behave properly. But the boys, they are so intoxicated, these two sons of Kuvera, that they ignore Narada Rishi and they remain naked. They don't give a damn. So what it happens, right? So Sri Narada then curses them. Okay, so what is this curse? We are going to listen. But before that, we'll ask this question: who exactly is Narada and what makes him curse them? So to understand who Narada is, there's a lot of literature, our Indian knowledge system, the Puranas, Mahabharata, even Bhagavad Gita. Narada is mentioned everywhere, ubiquitous. Bhagavatam is mentioned most, I think. So why is it Narada is so ubiquitously mentioned, and who is he actually? Narada is best nicely described in this shloka. This is the very first shloka of Ramayana. Ramayana begins with this shloka. This is the Mangalacharan that is done by Valmiki ji when he writes his Ramayana. We should understand that Narada is the guru of Valmiki. So Narada is guru and Valmiki is disciple. So guru is now, the disciple, Shishya, is worshipping his guru by writing this shloka. He is writing, describing Narada Rishi. Tapaswadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvidam varam Naradam paripapracha Valmikir muni pungavam. So it says, it describes Sri Narada Rishi in three adjectives. Tapaswadhyaya niratam. Narada is one who is fully devoted to tapasya, austerity, and swadhyaya, study, self-study. Swadhyaya means self-study. His mind is always absorbed in the study of the Shastra, and he is also doing tapasya. He lives a very austere life. That is Narada. The second adjective used is Vagvidam Varam. Vagvidam Varam means Vak Vidam, Vak with. Vak with means one who is a master of Vak. Vak literally means speech. So here it also means the Shastra, the Shabda, the knowledge, pure knowledge of the Shastra. Vagvidam Varam, people who are knowledgeable in the Shastra are called Vakvit. Vagvidam, of those people who are very knowledgeable in the Shastra, he is the best. Varam means the best. The best among the people who are knowledgeable in the Shastra. Naradam, his name, Paripapracha, he asked. Who asked? Valmiki. The word tapasvi, which comes in the first line, refers to Valmiki. Valmiki is referring to himself. Tapasvi, Valmiki. He asked a question or asked questions to Narada. Muni Pungavam. Muni Pungava is another adjective, the third adjective used for Narada in this shloka. So Muni Pungava refers to the best among the philosophers. Muni means a philosopher or a great thinker. Okay, he is the Pungava, means excellent. He is an excellent philosopher, philosopher par excellence. There's nobody who can exceed him. So this is Narada, Tapaswadhyaya Niratam, Vagvidam Varam, and Muni Pungavam. So he's the guru of Valmiki ji. He's also the guru of Vyasdev ji. Vyasdev ji is the author of the Bhagavata, all the Puranas, Mahabharata, and also the compiler of all the Veda. The Veda were put down in writing by him. So Vyasdev ji is considered as the Adi Guru for all of us, but his guru is Narada. He's the guru of the gurus. So this is Narada's position. And in the Bhagavata, Narada appears again and again and again. So when we are reading Dashama Skandha also now, Narada has appeared in this story, and he appears several times in the Dashama Skandha itself and in the other skandhas too. He's the most common character in the whole Bhagavata, Narada. So it's natural because after all the disciple is writing, so he will give the most importance to his own guru also. And Narada is in that position. Okay, it was important for me to say this today because we should understand Narada is not like any other rishi. He stands out. And he is also wrongly depicted in the media, in the entertainment industry. You see, after all, a lot of our knowledge about our own Shastra, about our Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad-Gita, and everything today, how do our people learn it? Our education system is teaching us what the Western world has developed. Western knowledge system is being taught to us, right? In our schools, colleges, everything. And where do we then get access to our own knowledge? In the last few generations, the only access has been our, even though the books are present, nobody reads those books. People watch TV serials, people watch now YouTube videos, people hear from, the general public. They watch dramas or they read comics, Samar Chitrakatha and different kinds of comics, books. So largely you will see there's a lot of misrepresentation of the reality. And one of the misrepresentations comes in the way in which Narada is portrayed. Very often you see Narada being portrayed as some kind of a comedian. He fills in like a joker. He comes in, makes some jokes, or he fools somebody, creates a fight among people. So this way he is portrayed. Okay, this is completely wrong. So for fun, people will do anything. But we shouldn't get misled by that. We should understand things properly. Otherwise, we would be committing an offense against the great personalities by which our own knowledge will be blocked. So after understanding Narada's position like this, we go forward to know what happened here in this story. So Narada, when he sees these boys behaving in this manner, he starts thinking that these people are now in for trouble. Not from me, but from their own karma. You see, what we do in this lifetime has results both in this life itself and in future lives. So if someone is suffering today, it's because of something they have done in the past. It's not because of no reason. It's not just a fluke. It's not just a random genetic thing. If there is suffering, that's because of something done in the past. Similarly, if there is happiness, if there is some enjoyment, if there is some fortune, that's because they have done something good. They have actually done something very good and they have earned that thing, right? So Narada can see in the behavior of these boys that this is going to be trouble for them. They're creating their own trouble. So he starts reasoning, and the reasoning that he goes through, Vyasdevji writes here in his mind. He says, Naradaji, these things like this. Those with an uncontrolled mind, they think their own body is eternal. They think their body is the source of all happiness. But the reality is the body actually has no value by itself. By itself, the body has no value. It has value only when it is used for something good. Only then it gives value to the living being, to that person. The body of even a god or a king, a great personality also, a rich man also, the body ultimately reaches the same state as that of a poor man. At the end of life, everybody's body is burned to ashes. And then it's eaten by insects or it becomes stool and ashes and everything. It has no value. It's not going to get a different treatment. There is no welfare for oneself in troubling others. It only leads to a hellish existence in the future. But unfortunately, our body, everybody worships. We worship it, and others around also worship it, like our guardian, our mother, father, grandfather, employer, purchaser. And even the dogs which eat our body, let's say somebody dies and their body is just thrown in the forest. Okay, wild animals will come and eat that body. And even they fight over that body when they eat the body because they think it is something great, right? So everybody thinks the body is great. That is Maya, that is illusion. But a wise person does not think like that. They don't think the body as the self, and therefore they don't kill other beings out of their misconceptions. So then Naradji thinks that, okay, sometimes the poor people, because they are free from the intoxication of wealth, okay, the word indigent in English means poor or people with poverty, people who are helpless, people who don't have much liberty in life. They have to live hand to mouth existence. Every day they have to work to earn their food of that day. Such people, they are free from wealth intoxication. At least they may have some other kind of problem, but at least they are free from this kind of intoxication which these boys are exhibiting. And their indigence forces them to be austere. And that becomes their tapasya. They would not do tapasya because they don't have Shastra knowledge that tapasya should be done. But because they are put in that condition, they have to live now a life of tapasya. They don't have a choice. So being deprived and being emaciated, they are less likely to indulge in himsa. They are less likely to do harm to anybody. Whereas somebody in this state of mind, like these boys who are not even covering their body when I'm coming here, in that condition, they are likely to go out and then kill somebody. They are likely to cheat somebody. They're likely to tell lies. They're likely to fool people. They're likely to do all wrong things. If they don't have enough decency to at least put on their clothes when a great sage is walking by, they will do many other wrong things when they go out, right? That is their state of mind. But if they are poor, they will not do that. Poor people cannot do that because they don't have the ability. And therefore, the saintly people are more likely to connect with them and give them something good. Because they are poor and helpless, the saintly people are more likely to give them compassion and show them some kindness. If not the rich people, at least the poor people will, saintly people will. So he says, I will then put them in that condition so that they will get the kripa of a saintly person. So thinking like that, he gives them his kripa. अतोर्हतः स्थावरतां स्यातां नैवं यथा पुनः स्मृतिः स्यान्मत्प्रसादेन तत्रापि मदनुग्रहात्. So therefore, deservingly, let them become trees. Sthavaratam syatam. Sthavara means that which is immovable or stationary, which stands in one place. It could be anything like a mountain, a stone, even this table. Anything which stands in one place is called a sthavara. Sthavaratam, the state of being immobile, immovable. let them become that. Okay, so he's referring to making them into trees. It is said that, trees are in the lowest platform of, you can say consciousness. They are even lower than the animal. The consciousness of trees is even lower than that of the animals. Okay, we'll discuss that separately. But here, the great sage Narada, he curses them that let them become trees. Naivam yatha punaha. So let them never behave like this again. But smritisyad mat prasadena tatrapi madanugrahat. By my anugraha, by my blessings, let them have the memory of why they have become trees. In the life as trees, when they become trees and live like trees, let them know that they are now trees because they did like this. Their actual identity was something else earlier, but now they become trees because they did this. Let them have this, and this is my kripa on them. Vasudevasya sannidhyam labdhva divyasharachate vritte swarlokatam bhuyo labdha bhakti bhavishyatah. Let them get the company of Vasudeva, Krishna, after 100 years of the Devas. Divya Sharachate means after 100 years of the Devas, let them get the blessings or the proximity. Sannidhyam means the proximity of Vasudeva, Krishna, son of Vasudeva. What is meant by 100 years of the Devas? 1 year of the Devas, or you can say 1 day of the Devas, is 1 year on human existence. 1 full year of what we call 12 months of the moon, let us say, lunar months, is 1 year for the Devas. Beg your pardon. 1 year of human beings is 1 day for the Devas. So 1 year of the Devas is 360 days of the Devas, which means 360 years of human beings, of human life. So 100 years of the Devas will become 36,000 years of human beings. So as Manushya's experience 36,000 years, Devas experience 100 years in their lifetime. So for 100 years of the Devas, let them live in this condition of being trees. At the end of that, let them get the company of Vasudeva, Krishna. And then Vritte Swarlokatam Bhuyaha. Then after getting his company, which means by his blessing, let them come back to Swargaloka. Let them get back to their Devi state. And therefore, and also Labdha Bhakti, not only come back to being a Deva, but let them get Bhakti to Krishna, which is a very rare thing. So he blesses them not only with becoming free from being trees, but he gives them something much greater than what the Devas have, which is Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. Bhakti is far superior to being in Swargaloka like a Deva. Bhakti is a very rare thing. Okay, even the Devas don't get Bhakti so easily. But here, by the Kripa of a Bhakta, by the Kripa of Narada, who is a Bhakta, he blesses them that let them get Bhakti and let them live as Bhaktas. So this is his compassion. Shri Shuka Uvacha Eva Muktva Sadevarshihi Gato Narayanashramam Nalaku Manigrivau Asatur Yamalarjunau. So by the blessing of Sri Narada, they both became trees, and Narada, after cursing them like this, he moved away from there and he went back to Narayanashrama. Narayanashrama is where he stays. Then what happens? Risher Bhagavata Mukhyasya Satyam Kartum Vacho Harihi Jagamashana Yatrastam Yamalarjuna. So now here 36,000 years have passed on the earth, and Krishna is tied to the grinding stone. Okay, now some time back Krishna has appeared and some time has passed, maybe a couple of years have passed. The child is now about 2 or 3 years of age. I don't know exactly what it is, but maybe about 2 to 3 years of age. Krishna is old enough to run around and steal butter and jump from the pot and run and so on. And he is now standing tied there. So maybe about 2 or 3 years of age. And they have stood there and they have seen Krishna has come. And they probably are thinking that now we are close to getting free from this. And they're probably enjoying the Leela of Bhagavan also. So now Sri Bhagavan is thinking. So Vyasdevji here describes what Bhagavan is thinking in his mind. He says, Risher Bhagavata Mukhyasya. the great Rishi, the Bhagavata Mukhya, the greatest among the Bhagavatas, the Bhaktas, that is Narada. Satyam Kartum Vacho Hari. Hari decided, Hari Krishna decided that I will make his words come true. He is my Bhakta. And then Jagama Shanakai Tatra. Slowly he began moving towards. Yashodama has gone to the kitchen. She has no idea that now he's going to start moving from there, because in her mind it's a heavy grinding stone. And this is a small 2-year-old baby, right? So how will it move? It can't move. It's impossible. Even a grown-up man, if you tie him to a big grinding stone, he may not be able to move from there. So Mother Yashoda is peaceful in her mind. She has gone back. But meanwhile, here, Krishna has got his own plans. So he starts moving towards the trees. Jagama Shanakaihi means slowly starts moving. Yatrastam Yamala Arjunau. Arjunau means two Arjuna trees. Yamala means two or twin, a pair. So he starts moving towards them. Devarshirme priyatamaha yadimau dhanadatmajau tattata sadhayishyami yadgeetam tanmahatmana. That Devarshi Narada is so dear to me. He is priyatama, means he is extremely dear to me. Yadimau dhanatatmajau tattatha sadhayishyami. And these two also, they are boys, they are sons of Kuvera, who is also dear to me. I like Kuvera also. So, and they are only his sons. So I'll therefore sadhayishyami, I will make it happen. What will I make happen? Yad Geetam Tan Mahatmana. What that great Mahatma Narada said, Yad Geetam, whatever he spoke, I will now make it come true. So with that resolve, Sri Bhagavan starts moving towards the trees. So as he moves, he starts going towards them, and then he starts crawling. And he crawls between the two trees. They're standing tight next to each other. He crawls between the two trees and he drags the stone with him. And the stone gets stuck between the trees. And it gets stuck, and he keeps pulling on the other side. And as he pulls, the trees are uprooted with enormous force. Okay, for him it is nothing, because the entire universe and hundreds of universes, millions of universes are supported by him without any effort, right? So pulling two trees down, is it a big thing for him? Obviously not. So he just moves with the grinding stone, and the trees, with an enormous amount of force, they are completely uprooted. With all the trunks, with the two trunks, the branches, the twigs, and the leaves shaking, they crash to the ground with a huge sound, massive sound they make. And as they fall down, two very brilliant personalities, two devas, they are like fire. They're very shining, they're beautiful, they're looking extremely handsome. They come out of those two trees and they bow down to child Krishna. They know everything. They know why this is happening, and they know that their freedom has now come. They bow to the child Krishna and they offer prayers to the child with folded hands. And these prayers are described very nicely in the 10th chapter. I'm not going through all the shlokas, but I will read just a couple of them. Krishna Krishnam Mahayogins Twamadyaf Purushaf Paraha Vyaktamidam Vishwam Rupam Te Brahmana Viduhu. Oh Krishna, Krishna, Mahayogi, what a great yogi you are. You are the original person, Adyaf Purushaha, Paraha, supreme person. Vyaktamidam Vishwam, this Vishwa, this universe. It's both in its manifest state, like we can see it now, and the unmanifest state. Before it is created and after it is dissolved, it goes into the unmanifest state. Both Vyakta, Avyakta, Idam Vishwam, Rupam Te, they are actually your own forms. And the Brahmanaha Viduhu, the Brahmanas who know this, they describe it like that. Tvam Mahan Prakriti Sukshma Rajas Sattvatamo Mai Tvameva Purushodhyakshaha Sarvakshetra Vikaravit. Tvam Mahan Prakritihi. This Prakriti, original source of matter, is called Prakritihi. In its most Sukshma form is you. And this Prakriti is the source of the three gunas. The three gunas come from Prakriti, right? Rajaha, Sattva, Tamaha. Sattva, Tamaha, Rajas. We have spoken about this many times. So now the Devas are saying that, okay, these actually are coming from you. Tvameva Purushaha Adhyakshaha. You are the original personality and you are the Adhyaksha, the governor, the chief superintendent of this entire universe. Sarva Kshetra Vikaravit. And you direct all the transformations which happen in this universe. So in this way, they go on offering their prayers to him, and until they are satisfied. Krishna is not expecting anything from them. He doesn't care. But they for their own satisfaction and gratitude, they offer their gratitude with the prayers to Krishna. Itham sankirtitastabhyam Bhagavan Gokuleshwaraha Damna Cholukhale Baddhaha Prahasannaha Guhyakau. So imagine the scene. Two brilliant personalities are standing there. They are devas, they're divine figures. Two massive trees have fallen down, and there's a child between the two trees with his waist tied to a grinding stone, a huge grinding stone. The huge grinding stone is stuck between the trees. And in this scenario, these two devas are offering prayers to that child. If anybody is watching this, what will they think, right? Now, the only people who are watching this scene are some small children who are playing nearby, of the same age as Krishna. They happen to be playing nearby and they saw the two trees crashing and they are watching all this. And then what happens? So, Itam Sankirtitaha Tabhyam Bhagavan Gokuleshwara. He is described here as Gokuleshwara because this Leela is happening in Gokula. He is the master or the lord of Gokula. And that Bhagavan was praised in this manner by these people. He is still in that form. He doesn't stand up or take the Vishnu form. He's still like that as a child. And for him, it's just a play, right? He's enjoying it. So Damna Ulukale Baddha, he is still with the grinding stone, the tied there on the ground, and he smiles. He smiles at them. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Gyatam Mama Puraivetat Rishina Karunatmana Yadhrichami Yat Shri Madandhayor Vagbihi Vibhramsho Nugraha Kritaha. So whenever Sri Krishna speaks, either in Bhagavad-gita or in Bhagavata, in Mahabharata, and anywhere else, Krishna's name is not put as Shri Krishna Uvacha or Vasudeva Uvacha. It's always Bhagavan Uvacha. But for any other character, like it's Arjuna speaking or Duryodhana speaking or Yudhishthira speaking, any other character, it will come as Arjuna Uvacha, Yudhishthira Uvacha, Narada Uvacha. That character's name will come, but only when Bhagavan or Krishna speaks, it comes as Bhagavan Uvacha. Gyatam mama pura eva etat rishina karunatmana yat Srimadadhandayor vagbhihi vimbrabshaha anugraha kritaha. I knew this whole thing. This is not something that happened by accident. I was very much aware of this, and with that intention, I came to liberate you because my bhakta, by his great karuna, he spoke this, and to fulfill his words, for you people who are completely intoxicated, you are blinded by your intoxication, intoxication of wealth. You are blinded by that, and therefore I came and I have now given you this freedom. Sadhunam samachittanam sutaram matkritatmanam darshanat no bhaved bandha pumso kshano savituryatha. So he is again referring to Narada Rishi because Bhagavan is very happy with the act of Narada Rishi. Narada has done the right thing, he says. He says that sadhunam samachittanam, by the company of great personalities, the sadhus who are samachitta, whose heart or whose consciousness is always equanimous. They don't have any bias. They don't have any disturbance. Their mind is always peaceful. They're always calm. They make judgments very with a lot of equanimity, very calm and cool. And matkritatmanam, they're always devoted to me. They find complete fulfillment in their seva to me. So he says, darshanat, by just their darshan, okay, just by looking at them, darshanat no bhavet bandhaha, means there will be no bondage. In other words, there will be freedom. You get freedom by just looking at such people. Of course, by looking at them, what happens? You want to go talk to them, you want to hear from them, listen to them. And by listening to them and by getting their blessings, or sometimes getting their blessings in the form of a curse like this, he says, one becomes liberated, like you have now become liberated. Pumso akshnoho savituhu yata, just like the eyes of a normal human being in the darkness can't see anything. Suppose it's at 3 o'clock in the morning or 3:30 in the morning. There is no light, anything in some rural area. Everything, there's no electricity, there's nothing, there's no moon, there are no stars also, clouds are there. You can't see anything. It's completely dark, pitch dark. You might have experienced this sometimes. But suddenly the sun rises. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the sun starts coming up. And when the sun rises, all darkness dissipates. Everything becomes crystal clear. So he says, just like that. When a sadhu enters our life, if we know how to interact with that sadhu, then all darkness goes away, light comes into our life. These people did not even know how to interact with the sadhu, but by his blessings, just by his darshan, and by him looking at them, they got that greatest blessing, by which they got now bhakti unto Bhagavan. So after saying this, the two devas, they thank Bhagavan, they bow down to him again, and then they vanish from there. Meanwhile, here, the two trees have fallen down and the child is in between, and the huge sound which was heard. So naturally, it's very scary sound. And Nanda and the other Gopas, they rush to that spot upon hearing that loud sound. So when they rush there, they find a very confusing scene. Like I just described, there's a small baby, their child, Krishna again. He is outside. He was supposed to be inside the house. And they are not able to understand because they don't know that Mother Yashoda has tied him with, this all this rope and everything to the stone. She did this thing and she went away. And now they're seeing this thing. What happened? Why is he tied to the stone there, the big stone? And why is he here? Why are those two huge trees next to him? They're just not able to understand. It's very confusing. They ask the little boys who are playing nearby. Nobody is hurt. Boys are playing, they are going around playing. So they ask them what happened. The boys tell them, look, this is what happened. This child was here. It started crawling and suddenly it went between the trees. It didn't know that it should not go between the trees. It should have come to us and played with us. But it's a baby after all. It doesn't know where to go. It went between the trees. And then the grinding stone, it got stuck there. And somehow the grinding stone, because it got stuck, because the tree, the grinding stone was pulling the trees fell off. The children don't find it anything because they are children, right? For them, after all, it's like a cartoon. In a cartoon, these things can happen. So for them, they're not surprised. They don't see anything unusual. They're just happy that they saw something like this and they're playing. So they describe this in their own language to the Gopas and to Nanda and everything. And the Gopas, including Nanda, they dismiss it as child speak. Children can always say anything, their imagination. But some of them, now because they are seeing this again and again, okay, Putana came and then again this kind of a loud crashing sound was there. They all came and saw a big Rakshasi fallen down. And Trinavarta came. Again, the child was missing, big tornado. Then they saw the child playing on the body of Trinavarta. Shakatasura came. They saw the crash of that huge cart with all the food. And then they saw the child playing below the cart. So again and again, similar things are happening. Some Rakshasa comes, something happens, and the child is around that thing, the scene where this happens. And the child is safe. Nothing happened to the child. So they actually start suspecting maybe this child is not some ordinary child. There is some powers in this child. They start suspecting like that. But very quickly they forget about that because after all, their concern is for the safety of the child. So Nanda then, his mind goes back to the child and he smiles and he quickly, he goes to the child, picks it up and he doesn't bother to find out why the child is tied to the grinding stone. He removes the rope and he lifts his child and he starts embracing him. He holds him tight. My God, the trees fell down, but they didn't fall on you. Maybe you are playing here, but they didn't fall on you. Thank goodness. God has been very kind to us. They again offer the prayers to Vishnu and they take him and go away. So shortly thereafter, what happens is this is described in the 11th chapter of the Dashama Skandha. And I'm going to tell you this right now itself. The Gopas, they meet. The Gopas, they all get together and they start discussing, they review what happened since baby Krishna was born to us. Okay, they think, of course, that Krishna was born to them. So they start reviewing that these things have happened and something is not okay with this place. I think before Krishna came, nothing happened. After he came, these kind of things are happening. So something is not okay with the place. And so we should find a better place where we will be safe. These Rakshasas and others will not come. And our children can play, our cows can graze freely, and there should be enough water and everything. So they think of a place like you and I, if we were to look for a different place to stay, what would we ask for? We would ask for different things, right? There should be good water, drainage should be clean, there should be some hospital nearby, whatever. So similarly, they think of all these things and then they find a place. Somebody comes up with a proposal that there's a place called Vrindavan. It's not very far from here. Actually, today, if you go and measure the distance from Gokul to Vrindavan is about 12 kilometers, 11 to 12 kilometers. Gokul is on one side, on the eastern bank of Yamuna, and Vrindavan is on the western bank of Yamuna. But the distance is fairly near. Mathura is on the western bank on the other side of Gokul. So the places are still there, and the distance also is not much like it is described here. So they decide to move from Gokul to Vrindavan, and they move there. In the 11th chapter, this movement from Gokul to Vrindavan is described. It's very sweet. So thereafter, what happened in Vrindavan, that is the subject of the remaining chapters until about the 35th or 36th chapter. Thereafter, then Krishna goes to Mathura and then Dwaraka, and the thing changes. So Vrindavan Leela of Krishna, or the Vraj Leela, expands into the several chapters from the 11th chapter to about the 35th or 36th to 37th chapter. So many chapters. It's very beautiful. Unfortunately, or you can say fortunately for us, as the Gopas have taught here, the demons, they don't stop coming. Many more disturbances happen there. Many more adventures happen for both Krishna and for them. And that is the subject of the Dashama Skandha of Bhagavatam. But for as far as the series of classes called Sat-katha is concerned, I stopped with this Leela. This 15 sessions of Sat-katha we have done now. We've reached the 10th chapter. We will stop with this, and we will not go directly into the rest of Vrindavan Leela right away, because from next week onwards, I'm going to take classes in a slightly different way. The timings also will change. I'll communicate to you about that. We will start a new series of classes. I'll send you a separate mail for that. And those of you who want to join that can join that too, like you joined this one. Now, I want to summarize our learnings for today's class and for all the Sat-katha sessions we've had together. The overall learning is that when we show love to others, we also receive love in return. The essence of love, however, lies in giving it to others and not in expecting it from others. Normally, we expect love from others. We don't think that we should actually give love first and then expect from others. Dharma is about giving love to others. This is what the Indian knowledge system teaches. Dharma, the essence of dharma lies in giving love to others, giving love first to others, and then expecting from others, if at all we should expect. But Shuddha Dharma or Bhakti or Seva is giving love to others without expecting anything in return from others. Okay, so there are three levels. First level is not giving love to others, but only expecting from others. The second is giving love to others and then expecting something in return. And the best is giving love to others without expecting anything in return. And that is bhakti, and that is the subject of our Shastra. The Gita and Bhagavatam, they teach that. So, genuine love, when it is done with no expectation of return, when I say no expectation of return, I mean not only material return. Okay, and now when I say love, I don't mean romantic love. I'm sure you understand that. I mean love in any form. Any kind of kindness is love. Okay, I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. And no expectation of return means not only material gross return, but even subtle returns. In fact, a lot of love that we show in this world, a lot of love that people show in this world is what I have said below, false show of love. It is a show of love with the expectation that tomorrow I'll get something in return from this person. For example, today if I help somebody, then tomorrow I'll have the power to go to that person and ask for something in return. I create that obligation in the other person. Okay, this is how normal society runs, and that's nothing wrong with it in normal ethical terms. Normal ethics covers this, and it's considered ethical to do like that, to be good to others and also take something good in return from them when the time comes. Right? So this is considered okay. Another form of the same thing is uh, when you give a favor to others, even if you know that that person is not in a position to return to me in the future, what you expect is something not from that person, but from society in general. That society will appreciate that you did something good to somebody else. So a lot of social service is done with that expectation that society will reward me. Society will reward me for what I did. I gave something, I sacrificed. I stopped wars and therefore I should get a Nobel Prize. Okay. Some people will openly go and claim that. They don't have any sense of shame in them also. There's no shame even asking for it. A little bit more mature people will not ask for it. In their mind, they will think, okay, one day I'll get a Nobel Prize because I stopped so many wars. If they don't get, they'll keep quiet because it's so embarrassing to go and say that, I was expecting to get Nobel Prize, but they didn't give me. Some people don't have that sense of shame also, even if they're sitting in a big position. Like they said, a crow does not become Garuda merely by sitting on top of a big building. A man does not become great just because he occupies a big chair. So this false show of love with expectation of return can take many different forms. And the most common form of this, the subtle return, is when people expect that others will appreciate me. Others will say good things about me. Others will reward me later on. People will, after I die, they will put my photo and they will worship it. Whatever. This thinking is there. This motivates people to do good to others. A lot of good is driven by this. But even this good is not genuine. This kind of goodness or this kind of love is not genuine love. Genuine love is when the mind is completely free from any expectation. It's only thinking. Then what is the thinking then? Why would that person want to do it? It's because he thinks that this is my dharma, this is my constitutional swarupa, Atma Swarup. Atma Swarup comes when a person connects with that level of purity with Bhagavan, because Bhagavan thinks like that. Krishna's thinking is like this. He doesn't think, what will I get in return? He's completely content within himself. So, this contentedness comes only when somebody practices this. This has to be practiced, it won't come by itself. It has to be practiced, and then we see that it actually opens up inside. When we consciously contemplate on saying that I will do something, but I don't want anything in return from it. Nothing, not even appreciation, not even anything. My job is over the moment it is done. Moment I do that seva is complete and then it is over. There's no thinking about it after that. What happened? I did that, nothing came. No, it's over. Now the next chapter begins. That's how genuine love is practiced. So genuine love is the purpose of dharma. All the dharma, you see, dharma is an all-pervading concept in the Indian knowledge system. All the texts of Indian knowledge system, even the texts which are not about the Puranas, the mathematical texts, the astronomy, astrology, everything, they're all about dharma. But the best way dharma is understood is through Bhagavata, Bhagavad-gita, Mahabharata, and so on. And the purpose of dharma is genuine love. How do we operationalize it? Very broadly speaking, through the thoughts that we have. We cultivate our thoughts in that direction. This is called manasik, vachik, through the words that we speak in our speech and through the actions that we perform with our body. So manasik, vachik, and kaik, the three levels or three different ways in which this love is operationalized. And the Shastra is full of that. In the last session, I shared with you the 37 qualities of a bhakta or 37 qualities of a person who becomes very dear to Krishna. This is in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Remember, I shared that list with you and I emailed to some of you who asked me for it. And similar to that, that's not the only place in the Bhagavad Gita where these kind of qualities are mentioned. In the 16th chapter, the 26 Daivi qualities are listed. Similarly, in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 20 qualities of jnana, knowledge, of a pure person with pure knowledge, the 20 qualities are described. And you'll see that when you look at these lists of qualities which come in different places. In the second chapter, the qualities of a sthita prajna are described. So as you see through these lists and keep them side by side, you will see that there's a lot of similarity between them. They're all in harmony with each other. They don't conflict. Okay, although they are made in different ways, there are so many overlapping terms. And if you combine all of them, probably you will get a long list of about 50, 60 qualities or even more. It will be very interesting to compile them and see and probably categorize them. This could be a research study by itself and how this is actually operationalized in practice. So a few things which are very obvious is how do you set the purpose of life? Broadly speaking, live life with a purpose. And the only purpose should be something that involves doing good for others. For example, someone may say that I will, learn whatever I'm doing. I'm doing an MBA, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I'm going to work in healthcare after doing this. My work will be devoted to uplifting the life of people in the rural areas in the country who are deprived of good healthcare. I will build, good healthcare systems for them, and I don't want anything in return for it. Somebody may think their life is like that. Somebody else may think, I will work for education. I find that education, particularly education with the Indian values, is completely lacking. So my life will be devoted for that. I will write books. I will speak on it. I will, first of all, of course, I'll study it properly myself, and then I will write books, I will teach others. I will spread this knowledge, but I don't want any recognition. I don't want any reward for that. Of course, things will come. Reward will come because you can't avoid it. Sometimes it comes. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, I don't care. It doesn't matter. So, very basic principles of genuine love begins with ahimsa. Don't harm others. Do not cheat. Do not steal. Asteya, asatya. So get rid of them. Sorry, steya and asatya. Asatya is untruth. Satya and asteya. Give generously and take sparingly. This is the concept of dana. The concept of dan is a dominant concept in the Indian knowledge system. The dan concept is about giving, finding every excuse to give to others according to the capacity. Some people can give a lot, some people can give only a little bit. Whatever it is, give to whatever extent you can, but give generously and take very sparingly from others. And see the harmony. This is very essential in dharma, in the practice of love. See the beautiful harmony between that which is temporary and that which is eternal, temporariness and eternality. You see, just like today, we heard about Sri Narada's thoughts before he cursed the sons of Kuvera. The body is temporary, right? So, meditating on the temporary body is very important to know that nothing is permanent as far as this particular birth is concerned. And I came into this body or came into this birth. I was born as a small baby, maybe 6 inches in size, completely helpless, no clothes, completely naked, not being able to do anything, just crying, right? At the mercy of others. Anything could have happened. That mother who gave birth to me could have just thrown me in the dustbin. In fact, people do that. Some people, they throw the baby into the dustbin because they feel they can't bring it up or whatever reason. They already got it. They got the baby illegally. They want to just get rid of it. They go throw it in the dustbin. And sometimes the dogs eat that baby. Sometimes somebody rescues the baby. It goes into an orphanage. Many orphanage children are like that. So the mother could have done that. But actually, for all of us, the mother has not done that. The mother has taken care of us with so much love, brought us up. So the temporary body is very important to understand because this temporariness motivates us to look beyond this material world. Look beyond where? Into the eternal nature of the self. So eternality and temporariness exist together. And to see this harmony between them, contemplate on temporariness to be able to see the eternality and contemplate on eternality to be able to see the temporariness. You contemplate on each of them to be able to see the other one clearly, and you appreciate both of them together. So, knowing that we are temporary, we live in this world with complete detachment, knowing that nothing belongs to us. Everything comes in between and goes away. All the relationships we have now in this birth, father, mother, wife, husband, children, friends, relatives, everything will be gone after we leave this body. When we go into the next body, we won't remember any of them. Just like now in this life, we don't remember anything that happened in our past life, right? So everything is temporary. So don't become attached to anything. Do everything with detachment, but with responsibility. Why responsibility? Because the responsibility connects us to our eternality. Doing things with responsibility connects us to our eternal nature and gives us a door to enter that eternal consciousness and build an existence by which we exist eternally. We realize our real happiness in that eternal state of existence. And all this becomes possible when Sri Bhagavan is the center of our life. When we bring Bhagavan to the center of the life, that is why I put it in the bottom. It's the foundation for everything else. Genuine love comes only when we make Bhagavan the center of our life. Otherwise, it's not possible. Without God in the center, any other philosophy that comes can speak a lot about love, ethics, everything, but unless God is there, it will not be perfect. There is still love, but it is not perfect love. Perfect love is only when we have Bhagavan in the center of our life. Okay, so with these words, I stop and I'll be very happy to hear your comments, your questions, your doubts, or anything that you would like to share with me, and so on. So, a lot of IKS research is also possible with this, with all these concepts. There's a lot of specific, very specific concepts which can become constructs in IKS studies.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello Shweta.
Sir, actually, after a very long time, I'm attending this session, so I'm very happy to be a part of it. Sir, my question was about genuine love.
Yeah,
You had mentioned that we have to love, and love is basically like not just romantic love, as you were talking about, that it should be done without any, we need to have any expectation from other person as such. But at least not only in case of say romantic love, but even if we are, in loving our friends or loving our siblings, there's something that we really look for is loyalty, or something that we don't want is betrayal. So in that case, also, I think the genuine love will not last if the basic requirement of relationship is not fun filled. How is it possible to maybe again love somebody without any attachments or without any basic expectation, because it's very very difficult. I
yeah,
know it makes our life easy if we don't have an expectation from someone else,
yes.
but is it possible in real life, sir?
The answer is yes, it is possible. But yes, what you said is correct. It's not easy at all. It requires us to sufficiently contemplate. It requires us to nurture that thing. It has to be fostered by contemplation, by doing japa, by contemplation. One has to again and again. It comes over years of practice. It doesn't happen overnight. Just because you heard my lecture today, tomorrow onwards, you will not be able to practice it. But as you do this over time and contemplate on the different situations, like you said, if the other person betrays you, okay,
Mhm.
naturally you will start developing resentment. You will develop a sense of grudge. You'll develop a sense of resentment, and you wouldn't want to see that person's face again. You would want to probably also sometimes take revenge on that person. That those feelings will come from within, right? Show the person that they have done wrong. These things will come. But as you contemplate on that, you can ask yourself questions like, how would, let's say, Yudhishthir respond to this? If Yudhishthir was in my shoes, why would he respond differently? We see that he responds differently, right? When Duryodhana does so much harm to him, he doesn't retaliate. It looks like it's just a story, but it's not just a story. It's actually real. There are his experience is a real. That's why Vasudevji gives it. He says that that's a benchmark for us. Now, how is he able to do that? What is his consciousness? In his consciousness, there's a certain kind of perception that everything ultimately consolidates into that ultimate reality. There is actually, see, even if the person betrays me, let's say my spouse betrays me, okay? Let's say I'm married somebody and they lived with me for so many years, but they run away. Now, obviously, at that point of time when they run away, there's a shock, and I can't just accept it. It'll last for some time. It'll not be easy to come out of it. But by sufficient contemplation, one should be able to see that actually, who is that person, that spouse? It's just another jivatma like me, right? It's just a living being. Just like I'm suffering, they are also suffering. Okay, now they've gone with somebody else. Okay, they will live for some time with them, and then probably they will leave them also. Or even if they don't leave them, they are going to die one day. I'm also going to die one day. This body will die. So as we think like this, we realize that actually, what was the reason why I got even attached to that person? There was no need for me to be attached. I could have just lived without attachment and done the same things, right? So this contemplation actually helps us to discover there is something far beyond that relationship. Those relationships which we have in the vyavaharik, this is called vyavaharik. Vyavaharik means व्यवहार में जो चलता है. हिंदी में व्यवहार बोलते हैं ना. So व्यवहारिक और व्यावहारिक स्थिति में, व्यावहारिक प्लेटफॉर्म में जो भी करते हैं, these things are called material. But जब दृष्टि पारमार्थिक बनती है, पारमार्थ मतलब जो व्यावहारिक से ऊपर है, more fundamental, then we are able to come out of that thing, and we see that happiness. There's a liberation when that happens. Mentally you become liberated. Yes, let that person be happy wherever they are. And once we go through one such experience, nothing else, I mean, even another smaller experience will not disturb us. We have already seen that view. We are seeing now from the top of a mountain. We are no longer on the ground. When you see from the mountain, something happening on the ground doesn't disturb you. Okay, let it happen there. So we start seeing things around us like seeing from the mountain, and we become free from it. And that is very liberating. So then, when somebody comes to you for a help, you know that person may not be grateful to you. That person may tomorrow speak ill of you. Even knowing that, you will still do help to that person. And that is what we mean by genuine love. Genuine love doesn't mean, romantic love, or doesn't mean saying I love you, or doesn't mean embracing them, or doesn't mean, kissing them, or nothing like that. It just means those little acts of kindness that we can do, and we do in all the small day-to-day activities. A student comes to you for help, you help that student. A shopkeeper has a conversation with you, you speak kind words to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper says something, you respond kindly. Even small acts of, kindness contribute to genuine love if it is done without thinking what will I get from that person in return. Even knowing that person may tomorrow harm me or betray me, of course, you don't want to get harmed. Not that anybody says that, okay, you do whatever you want to me, I'll keep loving you. Not like that. It is that nobody wants to get harmed. Even the most genuine person does not want to get harmed. The thinking is that even sometimes harm may come, then also I will not be disturbed. I can expect this world to throw anything at me. So, which means this mentality expects the worst, but gives the best. You give the best expecting the worst. And so anything that comes in between is always better, right? I don't know if I've addressed your question, Shweta. I've tried
I
to.
think, yeah, I'm getting a sense of it, sir. It's okay.
Okay. But we'll keep talking about it. We'll
Yes,
keep
sir.
talking about it over time. It may slowly, it'll help me also as I talk about it. It'll help others also as they, hear it and so on. Ashita?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, I wanted to ask that managers who expect their employees to be available on weekends and work even after the office hours, how can they practice genuine love? And when employees, when they see this kind of behavior, will they be able to actually practice the genuine love in real life or in corporate?
Yeah. Now, first of all, we should understand that the corporate world is not a world where genuine love can be easily practiced, because the vyavahar there, the transactions in the corporate world are meant for business. The economy runs because of a business mentality. Today's economy, at least, right? Even earlier, when the Indian knowledge system was dominating and the Vaishya thinking was prominent, the business mentality, was not like it is today. Today, it is cutthroat business mentality. The Vaishya thinking is not like that. It is seva. It is business done with seva in mind, but the thinking of not getting anything in return is not perfect. There is something in return. Humko bhi acha hoga, unko bhi acha hoga. That thinking is there. That we will also get. If we do, we will get. That thinking is there in the Vaishya mentality, which is not wrong, which is in accordance with dharma. Dharma does not go against that. Dharma allows you to accept something in return or think in terms of getting a return. Here, when I speak about genuine love, I'm speaking about perfection of dharma, the highest form of dharma. But Samanya Dharma allows you to think, okay, I should do dharma, like I should not harm others, I should not cheat, I should not steal, all those things. But I'll get, punya. I'll get punya in return, I'll get good. My sons will become prosperous, my wife will become good, and all those things. That is fine. Now, in today's business world, it's very difficult to talk about even that level of dharma, because it's all about maximization of profit. It is capitalist driven, right? Even India today, Indian economy is capitalist driven. It is not driven by our Vaishya thinking. So therefore, predominantly genuine love at the level of an organization is very difficult to think of. It may happen if everybody in the organization is influenced by a philosophy like this, which again is difficult because, you know, because of the context, the environment in which companies work, they have to compete with others. If they have to survive, then they also have to do things which go against some of these principles. So, ethics, which is taught in our management schools, ethics, which is spoken about, Western ethics, largely is superficial ethics. It is just ethics done to say that the ethics basically says that if you do wrong things, then you will not be able to survive as a company. You will get caught in court cases. You will get into trouble if you do unethical things. It's at that level only. It is not talking about genuine love. It's not talking about genuine ethics. It's about getting into trouble and not getting into trouble. That ethics is more or less like that. It's not about conscience. Okay, I was discussing this with Father Kuru also recently. He was talking about a new course outline. He wants to take a course for the doctoral students, and he was showing me his outline. I was suggesting to him that please bring in your spirituality. He's after all a Christian father. I told him, Father, please bring in spirituality. You are a father. You speak about God and so on. Please bring in God into your ethics course. At least you can do that. Normal ethics teachers don't. So superficial ethics is what is taught today. And so I don't think that employees at the level of normal, you can talk much about this. You can talk about it. At least some people in their personal life, they can practice it. At the level of an individual, okay, at the level of company, it's difficult, but at the level of an individual, they can practice genuine love to whatever extent possible in a company by being good to others, by helping others without taking anything in return. It is possible. To some extent, it is possible at the individual level. But it's not possible or very rarely possible to perfection in the company, in a business environment. We can, each of us, even if we are working in a business environment, including people like me and some of the others in the group who have become faculty members in other institutions, like Shweta is also now a professor, faculty member in a B school. So even we can practice this love, even though we are working in a business-like environment in a business school. We can practice it in our personal lives and in the interactions we have with our own students and other faculty members to whatever extent possible we can. But sometimes we have to vyavaharik at the vyavaharik level, we have to do things which align with the organization. Otherwise, it's very difficult to work out. It becomes impractical. It becomes impractical. You see, I'll tell you like this. Let me also explain like this. In the practice of dharma, sometimes unethical things are done when you deal with unethical people. Let me also put it like this. In the Kurukshetra war, Sri Bhagavan tells Arjuna to kill Karna. And Karna's wheel is stuck, right? How is Karna killed? He's fighting ferociously and his wheel gets stuck somewhere and he gets down to repair that wheel, and then Krishna says, now kill him. Now, this is normally against the principles of dharma. When the warrior is not fighting, you're not supposed to attack him. When somebody is changing the tire of his car, you don't go and shoot him unless you are a terrorist. Only terrorists will do that, right? In a normal war, that is not done. So now, in Dharma Yuddha particularly, there are strict principles that you don't fight with a warrior who is not fighting with you. You don't go from behind the back and kill him. That is why when they killed what is his name? The son of Arjuna, or
Abhimanyu.
the famous name was Abhimanyu. How was Abhimanyu killed? Very unfairly killed, right? So he was killed from the back. When they went and attacked him, he was completely unaware, and they had to kill him, because if they didn't kill him like that, he wouldn't be. He would have killed them. He would have finished them. He was in his full form, right? And they used unethical means and they killed him. Now Krishna tells Arjuna that you have to kill Karna like this, otherwise you will not be able to kill him today. You will not be able to finish him. You kill him. So Krishna advocates an unethical act. Similarly, Krishna tells Yudhishthira to lie to Dronacharya or to speak to Dronacharya in a way that's misleading, deliberately. Although he is not lying, technically speaking, it's not a lie also, because he says Ashwatthama is dead and there's Ashwatthama is an elephant which has been killed. So technically they set it up in such a way there is no technical lie, but still the intention was to mislead him. And so that is unethical. But that unethicality practiced against a guru is normally very unethical. It leads to severe pap. But Krishna tells Yudhishthira to do this. Krishna is the father of dharma. He is the source of all dharma. So even in the practice of genuine love, sometimes in Vyavahar, when you deal with unethical people who will otherwise be unethical, people who are not ethical with you, then sometimes you have to deal with them like that. So in Vyavahar, it has to be done that way. So therefore, when you bring these concepts into IKS research, in the context of a modern organization, you have to bring it very carefully, knowing these nuances.
Sir, can organization citizenship behavior be a part of genuine love?
It can be. Organized citizenship behavior, when you go beyond your expected organizational duties and you do things which you are not expected to do, but you do them out of goodness, that can be an outcome of genuine love. Yes, genuine love would lead to organizational citizenship behavior, no doubt about that. If somebody has genuine love, they would naturally engage in OCB. apart from the others who do OCB for getting something in return, for recognition and for appreciation and so on. People who do that, but people with genuine love definitely will do that. Will definitely do that.
Thank you, sir.
So that's one way that you can think of in your research. The word for genuine love in Sanskrit would be prema. Bhagavat prema or prem or priti or prema. And we can talk about it. I'll speak more about it. Yes. Any others? It's a very good topic actually. So next Sunday onwards, the timing of the class also may change, and there's a possibility I'll shift it to the morning before lunch, maybe 11:30 to 1 instead of the evening, so that your evenings also will be free. And for many people, early morning is too early. So 11:30 to 1 is a midday time. And so that may be a good time for many people before they go for lunch. After lunch, people are sleepy, they may want to sleep. So this is one possible time I've considered. And we'll be starting a series of katha, which is not specific to Bhagavatam. We'll also go to story from Ramayana, Mahabharata, maybe Vishnu Puran, other places. So each class we will focus on one or two stories or a series of events in one big story, and then take the learnings we can get from it. We'll focus on specific concepts, and we'll have probably a beginning and an end, like 10 sessions, 15 sessions, 20 sessions, like that. We'll do it that way. So you can enroll. I'll send you a link for enrollment if you're interested. I'm sure all of you are interested. So you can enroll, and you can also ask anybody else who is interested. If they wish to enroll, they can also enroll. You can bring anybody else who is genuinely interested. We don't want to have a big crowd, but anyone who is genuinely interested can definitely join us, and we can have good discussions. I'll also try to make it more like a class where instead of me giving a long lecture, we'll have more interaction where you can also do some activities and we can learn together in the process. Here also we'll try to connect with, because people like Ashita are doing their research in IKS. So we'll try to bring in concepts from, theory, research, and connect it to what we are reading. That way there'll be more fullness in our discussion, more useful, practical use for you people too. We'll speak about specific practices that can be done. Good. Anything else for today? Should we close? Okay. Thank you. Please chant the Hare Krishna mantra as I do the Antyamangalam with me. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobhramanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dhanyavada. See you next Sunday.